coming right there.
Hey guys, welcome back to Tactical Rifleman. Yeah, let me fix the screen for Steve. Steve, they're not going to be able to see your rifle. You're going to have to slide over here.
When we get to it.
When we get to it. All right, guys, welcome. I'm hurting.
He is. He's whining.
I'm whining. Last Wednesday, I had a full knee replacement. So, guys, I can't even bring my knee up here. But I got me a sexy scar. No, Steve, feel free not to ever touch that again. Oh, don't mind it. So, anyways, thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
That's the bright white pain. You see, you get that bright white pain. It like gets white around the edges. Yeah. So, hey. So, anyways, welcome tonight. I got Steve-O here with us, and we got a new sponsor. It's actually right here. Bucked Up. It's the color of their logo is wrong for Steve's shirt. I should have told him, look, Steve always wears a red shirt. It is what it is. I'll tell you what. Let's see if I can. Move that puppy. I'll move it over here with me. Right. That looks better. What do y'all think? You think that's better?
Than me.
That's better. I think that's better. You can see more of Steve. Who doesn't want to see more of Steve? So anyway, Bucked Up is sponsoring us tonight. If you're not familiar with them, they do like recovery drinks, energy drinks, protein powders, all that stuff. What I think is cool though is they've also got energy drinks like Monsters, except it's by a different company.
It's Bucked Up.
So it's Bucked Up. So if you're
bucked up,
recovering, I don't know if I know anybody who's recovering, right?
Yeah.
If you're recovering post-workout or post-surgery, I am told that these things will tear you up pretty good, which is good. That's what you need. I could use like 6 or 7 of them right now. But anyways, I got me a espresso mocha from Black Rifle Coffee. I don't care that you guys don't like Black Rifle Coffee. This was a gift by one of you guys, Erica Hodgstetler. You guys know her as Sherry Champagne in the chat room.
Sherry Champagne. Shout out.
Sherry sent me this.
Sherry's so cool.
So anyways, thank you, Sherry. Sherry is
we hung out at Patreon.
Patreon. You did. Yeah. All right. Chris Leviathan, they actually said they're going to get us. I'll get a pack out and a little bit of everything. So we'll have more Bucked Up stuff to show you guys down the road. You notice I'm checking my phone. That's rude, right? That's rude. I think it's rude. Can you guys all hear us okay? Everybody's 5x5? Yeah, 5x5. Okay, so anyways, I'm looking at my phone because you notice we still don't have Super Chat turned on at the bottom. YouTube didn't like that we were trying to monetize this channel. So they've thrown some more legal hoops and stuff for us to jump through. Fine, whatever. You can't keep us down. We're not going to, I'm not just so not a quitter. But if you guys got questions, just put them in the chat room. My moderators will take your questions and they will, as long as you're not trolling. If you get trolled, if you start trolling, you get blocked. They'll block you one time. They put you in a timeout for 300 seconds. After that, your ass is gone forever. But if you got legitimate questions, just send them in, and Susan Britcher will send them to me. For example, got one right here from Michelle Kuda. 2-part best defense weapon for an apartment for granddaughter and husband. She said police recommended a pump shotgun. The noise will deter the bad guys. Your opinion on that? I have mine already. The noise that should be deterring the bad guys is the head of the first bad guy coming through the window, his head coming apart. It makes a very distinct sound. When you shoot the skull, basically from whatever angle you hit it at, and you understand that for snipers, we go for that 0 reflex kill shot. So you need the brainstem, but you basically hit it from anywhere and it opens all the cavity out. It's a distinct sound and it will break their morale. I'm not saying they won't come back. I understand you will go to court anytime you pull the trigger.
They may come back reincarnated.
Yeah. Reincarnated. But understand I'm just not big on giving away my location. Now, if you've already got the family behind you in the safe room at the end of the hallway and you want to yell out, hey, I've already called the police. Police are on their way. I've got a gun. Please don't come down here. Understand, I would rather they steal your granddaughter's your granddaughter's flat screen TV than for you to have to go to court for shooting this kid in the face. Because understand, he's got a mom. He's probably got a sister. And they don't deserve that their child grew up to be a juvenile delinquent. And you don't need the legal heartache. Now, that's what I tell people. Understand, I'm going to shoot everyone in the face if they come in my house. But that's just me. As far as the shotgun, there's a pros and cons to all. Me personally, I recommend 5.56 frangible ammo in an AR. It's 30 rounds of love. They're very, very easy to shoot. They're very lightweight. It's going to be easier for you to teach your granddaughter to shoot it than it is for you to teach your granddaughter to pump a 12 gauge. So that was the standard answer that everybody gave when they were asked the best weapon for home defense. For the last 100 years, they would always say a pump shotgun. Pump shotguns are so much more reliable than auto-loading shotguns, just like revolvers are so much more reliable than semi-auto magazine-fed pistols. But the reality is that's 100-year-old logic. And Steve, being 100 years old, he agrees with a lot of that. He does.
I absolutely do. I do.
But me personally, my home defense gun is the same as my work gun. That way my muscle memory stays the same. My son used to compete with a Glock. He was actually sponsored by Hornady for a couple of years. My wife has a Glock. My daughter doesn't have a Glock yet. But most of her pistol shooting has been done with a Glock 19. So that is the firearm my family is more familiar with than a revolver. And
now, if you have to go with the shotgun, keep in mind, as I've always said, I'm a fan of the 20 gauge and the 14 gauge, especially for small built, small statured human beings, whether it's a small male, small female, a young child, or teenager who's been trained properly. Pumping it to give that distinctive sound depends on the threat. If it's somebody that's there to steal your flat screen TV, they'll probably leave the premises. If it's someone there to do you bodily harm with intent and malice,
you just gave away your position.
You just gave away your position. And if the chamber was empty, yes, you just loaded one. But as you go to address a bump in the night, you should already have a round in the chamber. So if you go clickety-clack, you just lost one round out of your load. Whether it's a standard shotgun with 4 rounds or extended magazine tube, 8, 9, 10 rounds of. But then go take a look at a 20 gauge. Get away from the 12 gauge, because actually my son Brian and I were shooting 12 gauge yesterday, and I always make him start off with bird shot, 7.5 shot, what you normally think is skeet loads, before he transitioned to the buckshot and then the turkey loads. He handled the double-aught buckshot loads really, really well. He got to the 3-inch number 4 turkey loads.
He didn't like that at all.
First thing he asked me was, is the barrel too hot? I said, is it? And I touched it. It wasn't that hot, but I said, I know where he was coming from. I said, yeah, it's a little bit too hot. You should wait and let it cool down for about 5 or 10 minutes.
Let's go back to the 7.5.
Yeah, exactly. But, again, and I went over this in detail. 20 gauge rounds and any shot shell today, the technology and the manufacturing has changed. The shot wad, the amount of shot in there, all that's changed. It's kind of like a 30-06 went to a 308 Winchester. 20 gauge is what 12 gauge was 50 years ago. So you don't need you're still pushing that mass times velocity, okay? Mm-hmm. And in that short distance, if you're talking about a threat in the house, as the law enforcement officer might have told you, the distances are very short. And if you're putting lead on target, whether it's 7.5, number 4, number 5, single out buck or double out buck, you're going to hit the target. And I'm telling you, and I'm telling you, a pattern. If you take 7.5 shot, 20 gauge or 12 gauge, and shoot a paper target at 20 yards. Let's say kitchen, the front room, the front door. Measure your distance. Take that paper target, set up at that distance, and shoot number 7.5 shot.
Don't actually shoot it in the
no,
house.
No, not in the house. Okay,
measure it.
Yeah, measure the distance.
Because I got trolls in the chat room that'll be like, yeah, we got to go shoot in our house now. Steve told us to. We know that you
measure
know
that
what
distance in your house that you say, hey, this is where I'm going to stand my ground, even if they're in the kitchen or the living room or the den or something like that. Measure that distance. Go outside to a range, or if you have room outside and you can shoot on your property, then measure that distance and shoot that distance with 7.5 and some other loads, and then shoot with a buckshot. There's a significant difference in recoil between 7.5. Number 6s, I like number 6s. I like number 4s. A lot more shot on the target, and believe it or not, in the last 2,000 years, human anatomy hasn't changed. Okay, so if you punch them with a 20 gauge, you punch them with a 410.
IQ's going down.
Yeah.
Besides that,
it's going to become one of those. I think I need to be someplace else right now, other than here for the second shot. That's probably coming.
And it's an excuse for you to get a brand new flat screen TV. Somebody took my 72-inch. I can now get a brand new 80-inch flat screen TV.
Somebody took a load of number 7.5 through my flat screen TV.
Honest guys, I pray you never have to draw down on another American. Honest, I pray you don't have to do that. I sincerely pray that you never. But if you have to, again, we are big on preaching. You need to have the right presence of mind. You need to have the training. You need to have the tools. Everybody has the tools. Everybody's household has got at least one gun in it. And if you're only allowed one gun in your home, and there are countries like that, if you master that gun and you have the right presence of mind, the right training, you're going to succeed with that gun. But the people that, I've got 200 guns, and they've got whole gun rooms with them up all nice and pretty and everything. They never get cleaned. They never get shot. Those guys don't scare me at all because they don't practice with them. They don't. So
reminds me of one of my team members. He's a big Colt Python fan. I don't know how many Colt Pythons he has, but
what are you gonna do with a Colt Python?
Once a month, he'll have a little cleaning session with the team. We invite him over, buy us beer and stuff, and we'll clean his pythons and put them back in the different safes. Good for him. Good for him. Love him.
Monkeys.
Love him.
Monkeys.
Crazy Ed. Maweezy.
Prepper 101 has a question. What's Steve's secret to staying so sexy all these years? Ageless male. Oh, that hurt. Oh, let's do that again.
Ageless male.
How do you stay so damn good looking, Steve? Well, first off, you got to start just dripping male sexiness.
Blessed.
Back in the day, Steve was just
blessed.
Steve was the kind of man a man wants when a man wants a man.
Shields up. Captain, the shields are down at 90%.
Oh, shit.
Drink a lot of water. Seriously. I always say you're supposed to drink like 8 bottles of water. Suck it up. Suck it up, Green Beret.
Suck it up.
Suck it up, Green Beret. You know what Captain America said? If you hurt them, if they hurt you, hurt them back. If they kill you, walk it off. Drink a lot of good water. I'm not talking about faucet water. I'm surprised because back in my day growing up in southeast Georgia, we drank from the water holes and the water fountains and everything else. And now everything is like super duper clean water. My son Brian, he is absolutely into like super duper clean water. He's got this little meter that he'll put in the water, even the bottled water. And I like bottled water. He'll put it in there. He said that's no good. And he's a big zero water fan. So
zero water is good water.
And Brian, one thing about Brian he would do his research. He will study and read everything, and then he'll come to his conclusion. So you can come in with a bottle of Dasani or Aquafina or something like that, and he'll say, "Let me see that." He'll pour it in a cup. He'll take his little measure, this little meter, stick it in there. Said, "You see that? That is 0.005 below the level it's supposed to be." Then he'll get a cup of zero water and check it. See, perfect. So he's in the zero water. Okay. So drink a lot of water, people.
I got a question here from.
But thank you. Sure thank you for the compliment.
Yeah.
Dinosaur. That wasn't a guy, was it?
It was a dude, but that's okay. All right.
A dude compliment.
They love you, Steve. They love you. Guys just want to grow up and be like Steve Holland. Nothing wrong with that.
I like to be like Steve
Holland. I want to be
like
Randy Worth, me personally.
Oh, yeah. At 70?
Dude, at 70, still rocking that chainsaw like that? I'm like, damn. All right, this dinosaur, can you still jump when you're healed up? Carl, question mark. I was told 40 years ago I'm not allowed to jump anymore because I'm too tore up. And then I was like, roger that. And I immediately went back to my Halo team room. What'd they say? They say I'm good to go.
You got to clarify that question for the rest of the viewers, because some of the viewers are like, can he still jump? And then he's asking, can you still parachute jump? Because I was thinking when he said, can you still jump? I was like, well, white men can't jump.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Steve.
No, he's not jumping now.
Twice a year, those of you that are new to Tactical Rifleman, twice a year, me, Emery, Sularu, a bunch of other guys, we'll all go down to what's called the Round Canopy Parachuting Team.USA. Down in Palatka, Florida. And twice a year, every March and every October, they run a basic airborne school, airborne refresher. So like if Steve wanted to jump round canopy parachutes again, he would just do the 3-day refresher. Now, airborne school is only 3 days long, but they get 5 jumps where Steve would only get 3, and he'd be back considered current. Again, he'd still get 5 jumps while he was there. They did a good refresher for my Jump Master recertification. My last time doing static line Jump Master was out of a C-141 cargo plane jumping my company into Ethiopia. In 1993. I'm sorry, that was 1997. My last time doing static line Jump Master, 1997. They gave me a quick refresher. So anyways, I put my son, Emery, Chad, all these other guys through basic airborne school. And Leif LeBlanc was there. Jerry J came down. A bunch of the guys, Chris. They came down, and Leif LeBlanc jumped into Panama during the invasion of Panama. He's got his little gold star on his wings for a combat jump with the Ranger battalions. He'll be the guy in here saying Rangers lead the way all the time. Leaf's good people. We did that. That was a couple years ago now, and the intent is the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion in France. Is this a couple weeks ago was the 79th anniversary. The last big one was the 75th. They had a big party. Trump went to it. Everybody went to it. But the next big party is supposed to be the 80th. That is next June. So that will be a year recovery time from my surgery. I will make sure that my jump log is current. But in other words, I'm not going this October. My son's going to go down and jump. Me, Emery, Steve, Sue, that is when we are doing our Patreon course. It's the same dates. We're going to be in Texas doing a Patreon course. That said, if you guys want to go jump, there will be other Tactical Rifleman people there. And like I said, my son's going to be there. So if y'all want to go hang out with them, go get those airborne wings. It's a great time. And then they do, like I said, they do it twice a year. They do Operation Sand Snake in March, and then Operation Black Cat is their 5-day jump fest in October. It's always a great time. They should be on their way home right now. They just went and jumped into Normandy out of the World War II airplane. Wow. That is what me and Nicholas and Todd Simmons says he's going to jump. And Emery and Sularu, we are all going to, if I can raise enough money here on Tactical Rifleman, we are going to go put on our World War II uniforms with our old steel pots and our brown Cochrane jump boots, leather jump boots, and we are going to go jump into Normandy. But yeah, don't tell my ortho surgeon that yeah, if I told him I was still parachuting, he probably.
Now, when you say jump into Normandy, we're not talking about Normandy drop zone on Fort Bragg.
No, we're talking about
France.
France. It's Round Canopy Parachute Team /USA. There is a Round Canopy Parachute Team /France. Round Canopy Parachute Team Great Britain. Round Canopy Parachute Team Denmark. There are all these other jump clubs from all these different countries. They come together. It's a big drink fest. You basically drink for 5 days. Command Sergeant Major Rick Lamb, retired. You guys know him from the movie Black Hawk Down. He jumped with his son into the 75th anniversary, and I should have put. I'll tell you what. I'll put the video up next Tuesday for you guys. But he said him and his son jumped into Normandy out of a World War II airplane, and then there's an old French guy who was a little kid during the initial invasion.
D-Day.
D-Day. And you guys all know D-Day is the day that all the Americans got killed on the beach. For this Frenchman, he knows D-Day as the day that he was cowering. His dad and his older brother had just been shot in the face. His mom and his older sister were getting raped on the table by 6 German soldiers. He's trying to hide his face not to look, and he saw through the shutters these American soldiers run into the barn. So he snuck out there and told these American soldiers, these dog-faced GIs, you got to be careful, you got to hide, there are German soldiers inside. They're raping my mom and my sister. And the Americans went, really? They're inside right now? Right now? They're in there right now? Yeah, they're in there right now. So anyways, the Americans went in and I guess made a mess. They made a mess of these guys. They did it slow. This guy eventually inherited the farm. And that barn that the Americans were hid in still has parachutes and all these souvenirs. He's got 5 or 6 working Willys Jeeps. And whenever Rick Lamb and these other Americans come over there, he gives them the keys to the Jeeps and says, just bring them back when you're done with them. So me and Rick Lamb and his son and his wife, my son and my wife, I'm going to get my wife the Army Nursing Corps outfit, the old World War II Nursing Corps outfit, the beehive hairdo, maybe the fishnet nylons. We'll see what I can talk her into. And we're going to go jump into Normandy, and then we're going to drink and drink hard for a couple of days, go see the beaches and go tour. And I've never been to those beaches. I've been to France, but I've never got a chance to go tour and really do anything cool.
You know, I was over in France once for Eurosatory, which is like a big AUSA or a big military shot show that they hold over in France. I think every 2 years. I think it's every 2 years. And I was with a bunch of Rangers that we were over there reviewing different weapon systems from different armies on behalf of U.S. SOCOM. And the Rangers, of course, they wanted to go to Normandy.
Yeah.
It's an impressive place. The movies don't do justice when you get to the cliffs and you look down and you think of the Germans with their MG-34s. The Germans were machine gun tactics, and machine guns were a religion to them. Mm-hmm. We learned from them, but nothing compared to them. We use machine guns in support of infantry. They use infantry in support of machine guns. I can tell you so many different stories of incidents where we ran into MG-34s and MG-42s, I think, in the Spanish. I think that they had a one in 7.62 over in Iraq, and we were just surprised that they had these and they run. I think the M60 and the M240 on the lower cycle rate is about 650 rounds per minute.
Yeah.
And the MG34 was like
well over 1,000.
like 1,600.
Yeah.
And the Americans called it the buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Because that's what it sounded like. So you imagine assaulting on a beach. First, you got to get to the beach and these landing craft bouncing. Of course, they got no armor around it. You drop you on the beach, you run up the beach, and these guys are sitting up top at cliffs, and they've been waiting for months. They got all these aiming stakes out. They know their sections of fire, and we shoot what we call a beaten zone with machine guns. They shoot to a spot, but that's why their guns will run so fast. They're going to shoot to a spot, shoot to a spot, shoot to a spot. Well, we shoot into a zone, a beaten zone. Then we got dead space. I read a book on German machine gun tactics once. When I was in 82nd Airborne, we had machine gun leaders course. I think it's a 2-week course, but that's where I learned about plunging fire and grazing fire. Grazing fire is scary. It is, and I couldn't imagine when you see those cliffs and you see the guys, even when you're making it up the cliff, all the Germans do is fall back, and they fall back. Then you get into grazing fire. Grazing fire is just like what it sounds like. It is like cows grazing, horses grazing. They shoot 8 to 10 inches off the ground. They don't shoot like we do at the person running, assaulting. They shoot at your feet. Because if they cut your ankles out from under you, guess what else lands down to the ground? Your head and your shoulders. And then you eat the rest of that. So to be able to go to Normandy and actually make a jump from an airplane, that is so awesome. That is just so historic.
And then I think I'm going to be done after that. I really do. I think I'll be done after that. Yeah, guys, my goal is to get my mobility back, but I definitely don't want to tear this up. So I won't be jumping this March. If you guys are interested in it, please go check out rcpt.org, rcptusa.org, and it's a nonprofit. They bring a old World War II airplane, a C-47. It's called the Tycho Bell. They bring it out of the Aviation Museum in Jacksonville, Florida. They bring it out of the museum a couple times a year. It is a no-joke museum piece. That plane has actually done the drop on Normandy, Operation Market Garden, the Berlin airlift. That plane by serial number was there. It towed a glider and dropped paratroopers. So it's kind of neat. I'm going to try to jump master, but we will not be there in October. My son's going to go. But March, the following March, that's the plane right there. But they've already asked me to be the airborne commander, and I wanted to tell them no, but at the same time, those of you that know me, I'm never. If somebody asks for my help, I have a hard time not helping. Who will I send? Lord, send me. I'm the guy for the job. So I'm going to be the March class, March 2024. That's the last chance for people to get recertified before the jump into Normandy. So all the guys from Grunt Style, all the guys from Horse Soldiers Bourbon, all these other guys that want to get on to the Normandy jump, they've all got to get their jump logs current. So it's going to be a zoo. So I'll be there next March, guys. I will. My rehab is going to go great. I'm in pain. I'm in a lot of pain, but my wife will tell you the swelling is bad, but the mobility, I'm able to bend it a little bit more. According to the lady at rehab, the goal is 90 degrees at your 2-week mark for bending your knee. And on my second visit, I was already at 95 degrees. So I'm ahead of schedule on my rehab. I'm not going to overdo it, but I'm going to follow my rehab schedule because I need my mobility back. I do. I would love to have y'all come jump with us in March. I really would.
Byron Russell.
Yeah, Byron said he was going to be here. Byron here visiting.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we have got a bunch more questions coming in. All right, there's an easy one here. Khan's Quatch. When aiming with both eyes open, do you align sights on your dominant eye? Yep, you do. If you are right eye dominant or left eye dominant, it does not matter if you're shooting right-handed or left. Matters when you're doing a rifle. Okay, you want to, if you're right eye dominant, I want you to shoot right-handed. But with a pistol, you bring it up under left eye or right eye, left eye or right eye or left eye. Really doesn't matter. It's just a canting of the wrists. So, a matter of fact, that was this past Friday's video was combat shooting drills for close quarters battle. The drill was for switching eyes. When you're doing dynamic close quarters battle, flowing with a team, going through a structure, you are there. And again, there are different techniques for clearing rooms, but one of the big one is step center. The number one man is actually stepping to the center of that threshold, taking that flash sight picture, but then he's going through with it on his strong side. Even though people would say, well, the airsoft crowd, when they break a corner to the right, they always switch shoulders because it gives them more cover. That's fine, but understand that's not real life. That's airsoft, that's paintball. Real life, 99% of the time, it's not a target. It's still a threat, but it's not a threat that warrants deadly force. It might be that high value target that you were there to snatch. So you can't, by you switching hands, how often do you do hand-to-hand combat with your offhands? You don't, right? So can I shoot just as well switching hands? Yes, I can. But it is easier for me to keep it on my strong side and pie. Now, when you're doing, the exception to that is when you are doing one-man CQB, you by yourself. When you're going by yourself, you're not just running through the house. You're having to go slow and deliberate, and that means pieing doorways. So if you don't want to, coming around a corner, you don't want to expose your whole head. You just want to expose enough of one eye so that you can see that pistol, right? So if I'm always right eye dominant, right, now I've got to come all the way out and now I can see it. But if I would switch eyes, now when I bring it out, now I'm only having to expose half of my head. So we actually teach to switch eyes, but to master shooting a pistol, you need to master shooting both eyes open. Just bring it up in front of your dominant eye. Dominant eye. Great question.
Chad Mormon, why do you say I eat crayons, man?
He's not a Marine. Chad Mormon was a Marine. Gina Brad, Tactical Rifleman, can we get y'all's thoughts on blast deflector muzzle devices? What he's talking about is the full shrouds like the Flaming Pig that pushes all of it forward. We've actually gone very, very deep on that subject on several of our past live streams with me and Steve here. I'm not blowing you off, but Steve...
But we will cover that later because we actually have a example of a AR-15 type system that we're going to show tonight that has
a Flaming Pig.
What you're referring to is called a linear muzzle brake system.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to come back to that one. We'll come back to that one.
We're going to come back to that.
J.D. Watson to Carl and Steve. I'm loading for 308 using 175 grain Sierra Match King hollow point boat tails. Looking for a 25-50 feet per second muzzle velocity. Does brand of rifle powder make a difference? He's talking about out of a gas gun.
Okay.
For us, your load that you mentioned is basically the M118 LR, the military ammo, is a 175 grain Sierra Match King. Out of our M24 sniper weapon systems, it ran right at 2,600 feet per second.
2,600, 2,650.
Yeah.
That's, but out of a gas gun is going to be different. I'm assuming that you didn't mention barrel length, so you have to look at barrel length also.
Yeah, the Mark 11s had a shorter barrel than the M24s. And that, yes, a gas system bleeds off a little gas, but most of what's dropping that muzzle velocity is, I'm assuming you're running a shorter barrel. If you're not, if you're running a 20-inch, 22-inch barrel, you should be getting more than that. As far as brands of rifle powder, do they make a difference? one, make sure you're using a rifle powder and not a pistol or shotgun powder, because pistol powders burn at a much faster rate. It'd be dangerous for your gun. But when it comes to rifles, and Steve will correct me if he has a different opinion, more important than anything else is that it gets a consistent burn rate. And for us in the military, that means it consistent if I'm training up in Alaska and it's 5 degrees outside, or whether I'm training in Kuwait City and it's 130 degrees outside. Me keeping the gun in the shade, me keeping my ammo in the magazines out of the sun, that powder is still at ambient air temperature and it throws off the data. It does. It throws off your data. So we need consistent powder that will handle temperature changes, but also changes in humidity, stuff like that. That to me is more important. So types of powder, I'm looking at some of my favorite ones right now. H338, H335. If I'm running subsonic 308, I actually use it's called Trail Boss.
Yeah.
Trail Boss is made for cowboy action black powder, well, not black powder, but cowboy action pistols. I use it in my subsonic 308 ammo because it allows me to fill the casing all the way up, so I don't have it just laying in the bottom. Do your homework. There's a lot of great websites out there for hand loading. For example, there's a blog called 300 Blackout that has a lot of great information for reloading 300 Blackout. There are also Sniper's Hide is another blog that where you can get all kinds of good recipes. Steve, if you've got a favorite recipe to share.
I'm not going to get into specific weights. I mean, the load, the equivalent civilian load for the military's M118 LR has been out there so long. So many guys have been shooting that, especially guys at Camp Perry. I'm assuming that since you're asking about powders, you're a reloader and you know enough about reloading that, you know, every powder is going to be different. Your load density, your case capacity percentage, your burn rate. Again, barrel length has a lot to do with it. When it comes to 308 Winchester, I am a ram shot tack guy. I use tack in my hunting loads. I don't run 175s. To me, and of course, I understand why the military does it. To me, 175 is heavy for caliber for the 308 Winchester. If you look at most of the 308 Winchester target loads, shooting loads, hunting loads, they normally run 150 grain, 155, 160, 165. 175 is basically all about long range shooting. I am a big fan of 155 grain bullets, the Hornady Tap, Sierra Palmer. I used to shoot thousands and thousands of rounds of 155 grain Sierra Palmer, HPBT, Match King. When I designed a 6.8 SPC, I had Sierra build us a specific bullet based on 155 grain 308 bullet, Palmer bullet, for the 6.8 SPC. It's 110 grain. Then we had them do 115 because I just love that design. When I'm hunting with 308 Winchester, you all right?
No, but let's keep going.
Okay, I'm worried about your cupcake. So
I'm fine.
I love Ramshot Tack. I've shot some groups with Ramshot Tack at 155 grain bullets. Again, my favorite is the 155 grain Hornady Tap, or the 155 grain Nosler AccuBond over some Ramshot Tack. You have to go to the book and the data online, and then work your way up and down yourself to figure out what your gun likes. Because every gun likes something different.
Yeah, you really shouldn't be asking two guys sitting here at a podcast, what's your recipe? Because your recipe has to be perfect. And you understand, if I regurgitate it by memory wrong to you, I didn't give it to you wrong on purpose. It's just I'm looking at the data book under my Dillon 650 right there, and you understand it's that thick, and there's 5 recipes per page, and what ups and downs and what did good and what didn't, and you make notes on them, and you come up with your favorites. I can't tell you what any of those numbers are in there by memory. I just can't. If this was a reloading video, I of course would have all my notes perfect. I'd have them up on the TV sets and stuff so I could regurgitate them for you. But I didn't. I'm not prepared to do that tonight.
Yeah, I'll give you a real quick shaking my head example. A lot of you guys know Jay Johnson. We have Jay Johnson on the show a lot. He's up in the UP. Upper Peninsula, Michigan, taking care of his mom.
Did he move up there now, or is he just visiting?
He's going to be up there for quite a few months.
Is he really?
So Jay and I were doing workups on 6.8 SPC when we first designed the 6.8, and then we designed the Mark 12 SPR, the 18-inch version. We had 20-inch versions, and we had one on the show a couple of weeks ago with Kim Breed and Ray Hodge. It was in the background and somebody was asking about it. We never had a chance to get to it because we lost Wi-Fi. So anyway, one day Jay said he was going to hunt with me here in Kentucky, and he normally hunts up in Michigan. Jay has one rifle, a Remington 700 ADL he bought from like Sears and Roebuck or someplace like that. I don't think Walmart even existed back then, and that's the only rifle he had. So he said, let's work up some loads. I said, okay, why don't we, let me look at your rifle, look at the chamber, your lead and throat, which is important because my overall length is not semi-spec. And so I did a case gauge check on his chamber, on his throat, to find out that my loads were about 25 thousandths off of his lead. And I said, well, these should work, Jay. So we went to the range, and after we finished doing what we were doing, I said, Jay, get your rifle out. Let me get my 270 Winchester ammo out. And we're going to shoot your ammo to check your zero. Then we're going to shoot my ammo in your rifle to see how your rifle responds to this load. And remember, I checked his lead and throat on the run out of the bullet because that's where the safety factor is. That's what builds up pressure. So I said, he shot the first round of the hand loads, and I'm looking in the spot and scope. He goes, did it hit the bullseye? I said, Jay, don't worry about hitting the bullseye. I just want you to shoot a group. I said, okay. He shot the second round, and I'm looking through the spotting scope, and he says, what happened? Did I hit it? I said, Jay.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Shoot a group. He got ready to shoot the third round. I'm looking at the first 2 rounds, right? And I'm thinking, man, he's going to fuck this up. He's going to fuck this group up. And he shot the third round. I was like, oh, my gosh. He goes, what happened? Did I mess it up that bad? I said, well, let's go see. And we walked out down 100 meters. As he got closer to the target, he saw a hole, and then he didn't see anything else. So he looks at me. He goes, "Man, I just shot my head with everywhere.
I'm missing 2 bullets."
I said, "Yeah." I said, "Really, Jay?" I said, "Take a look at your group." And he looks up. He said, "Is that a group?" I said, "Jay, that's 3 rounds. Could cover it with a nickel. Could cover it with a nickel."
Nice.
This is a Remington 700 ADL. Remember, ADL is blind box magazine, so there's no hinged floor plate on the bottom. Okay, just wood. And you put 3 rounds to the top. Not glass bedded, no fancy barrel, no fancy $400 trigger. The scope was a Leupold. It's a scope that I gave him. And I think he said the rifle cost him like $375. And he had 20 gazillion years when he had bought it. He bought 2 boxes of ammo. He still had 2 boxes and a half for 20-something years. We did kill one huge Michigan buck with it. But that load shot half minute in that gun that hadn't been modernized, hadn't been blueprinted, as everybody likes to say, hadn't been, all this true up the receiver and all this other stuff. Now, I have rifles like that, but I'm just saying that with the proper hand loads, your gun or your rifle will probably shoot better than you can hold it.
Yeah.
And Mr. White used to tell us that all the time. He said, "Mr. White, I'm going to make this gun into a 1-minute gun, a half-minute gun." He'd say, "Son, you can't hold half a minute."
Yeah.
And what he's saying is, like bench press shooters, they call themselves bench press shooters, they call themselves shooters, but it's like the bench is doing the shooting.
Yeah.
These guns are locked down with 60, 70, 80 pounds of concrete, all this other stuff. The human body is a dynamic system. It's always in motion. It's like when you crank up your car. Even though it's idling, everything's in motion. You got pistons firing, you got exhaust coming out, everything's going on. The human body is the same thing. Some people can hold a half minute for a while. And I've held half minutes for a while, but you can't hold it all the time. You go to Camp Perry and you watch. It's kind of like golfers. Man, that guy made that 25-foot putt. Yeah, he did yesterday, but he didn't make the one tomorrow. Okay? Yeah. So sometimes the gun is more accurate than you will ever be. You add good loads to that, and you're going to have a very accurate system. We as Americans, as American firearm owners and shooters, we are so wrapped up in the accuracy. I took 2,000 AK-47s that have been in storage for 15 years when the Derg and Ethiopian Eritrea kicked the Russians out of the country, killed the rest of them, cut them in half, put them in gun boxes, and told Russia to come get them. We took those 20-year-old salt-crusted AK-47s, sprayed them down with WD-40, beat them with a leather hammer, gave each guy a 30-round magazine and had him shoot at one time. And they ran forever. And they're probably 10-minute angle guns. But they're still on the national flag of some countries and will kill you dead every time. If that 123 grain flat base bullet that all the ballisticians say should fall out of the sky at 200 yards, let it hit you.
All right, okay. Matthew Dion's got another sniper one here. Hey, Carl and Steve, I was listening to a podcast with a SEAL who served 10 years at Dev Group during the Global War on Terror. He claimed 208 kills. Is that even realistic? Thanks, and God bless you both. All right, first, guys, I don't like to bash SEALs. I don't. They bash themselves. All right. No, here's the deal. My A-team, my sniper teams were doing sniper ops in the JAF and Fallujah and all this. I got to work with the Polish Grom. I got to work with the U.S. Navy SEALs. I got to work with them and their sniper teams and stuff. There was actually one night where went to go infill my snipers, and we get there, and turns out we went to the wrong building. The Bradleys that dropped us off at this wrong position, but we get there and there's already gunfire going on. So like, all right, guys, get your guns, find holes. We get there and there's a platoon of first cav guys on the first floor, lieutenant and everything, and there's a parking garage out there a little ways out. A lot of you guys know this story. That's the one where I used Sularoo for bait. All right. Sue had I got a Bronze Star. Sularoo got a appointment with the shrink, and he got a dental appointment. All right. Funny, but it's the truth. We get there, and the SEALs were up on the third story. They had a couple holes, and there's an enemy sniper out across, and the enemy sniper was shooting. And he had an SVD with armor-piercing rounds, 7.62 by 54, and his rounds would go through one wall. So for us to shoot using loopholes, we're having to go through two walls. We'd be 2 rooms deep shooting through holes that lined up. All right, hole and a hole. And we would shoot past the bullet through both walls. The SEALs had one guy, had a helmet shot by this guy, had a jacket that he had hung over a chair to dry out because there was no wind moving. Electricity was off in the city, so it's like 140 degrees in the building. His jacket had been shot hanging over a chair. The guy's passing bullets through these loopholes. Just give you an idea of how accurate this enemy sniper is. Well, my snipers occupied the floor below them, and we get there and like, all right, hey, I'm gonna get. We'll get the Bradleys to come back the next time they come by to deliver chow. We'll move. We ended up staying there because it was a very, very productive spot. The SEALs only had night scopes on one of their guns, and this was early on. This was 2004, and all of my guys had PVS 22 night scopes on all of our sniper rifles, and then we had a day-night scope on the Barrett 50 cal. We had a day-night scope on a 300 Win Mag. So all of my rifles had day-night capability. The SEALs only had one. Every 12 hours, you'd have to get over the SATCOM radio and call in a report up on equipment, up on men. Do you need any resupplies? Blah blah blah. But then the sniper employment officer up at Siege's sort of headquarters, they would ask, how many confirmed kills, and we're listening to the SEALs, the floor above us, and remember the sun just came up. Right, so my guys are shooting all night long because we had great night scopes and the bad guys didn't think anybody could see them. So that first night was very, very productive for us. My guys did not want to leave. We eventually moved somewhere else. But yeah, my guys loved that spot. So I came up on men and equipment, requested another case of 118 LR. I requested another can of Rofus 50 cal. Another can of 300 Win Mag, and they asked how many confirmed kills, and I said none. Now the SEALs, when they gave their call, they said that they had 22 confirmed kills that night, 22. And the whole time when we heard that on the radio, all my guys are looking at me, and we're like, well, maybe they were all like lined up in a row, because we only heard their gun go off like once or twice the whole night. They called 22 confirmed kills. Okay. Why did I say 0? My guys, their feelings were a little hurt that I said 0, because they were like,
yeah.
And I'm like 0, because the guys like say again, I'm like 0 confirmed kills. Here's why, guys. You're looking from one building to another, 400 meters away. There's open windows on the side of a building, 400 meters in the dark. Wind calls, everything, doing everything right. If a guy starts leaning out the window, looking around with his AK, if I shoot that guy, what does he do? He falls down inside the room. He doesn't fall out of the room like a bad Western.
Yeah.
He goes down inside the room.
Fall over the staircase.
Now, what about if while I'm going to shoot, my bullet misses him and hits the wall right next to him? What does that guy do? He goes, oh, snap, and he goes down inside the room. So you're wanting to high five slap, that you just got a confirmed kill. But the reality is you don't know that you hit that guy.
It's not confirmed.
No. You start using your spotter with the IR illuminators. When you get on the countdown, you wait till the last second. You turn on that IR illuminator. You've got it set so it's wide enough to cover max order the bullet. It allows you to look through windows and stuff, seeing shadows. There are still shadows in the dark. But now when you shoot, that IR illuminator is reflecting off the back of that Sierra Match King bullet that he was talking about, because it's copper on the back. It is easier to see trace in the dark than it is during the day. It looks like a moth in the headlight of your car. All right. Now your spotter, he just watched that moth go by the guy's head and hit the wall. The guy goes down in the room. You're wanting to go, woohoo, you're wanting a high five. That's a confirmed kill. And your buddy's like, no, you missed quarter mil left, stand by quarter mil right. And because the guy goes down, what's he going to do? He's going to go up 1 or 2 windows left or right, and he's going to go, what the hell was that? Now you know your correction, your hold. So the IR illuminators work. Just don't turn them on too early, because if the bad guy's got nods, they then know where you're shooting from. But let's go back to, let's say your spotter watched that moth go right in center mass of the chest. What does the guy do? He goes down inside the room, right? Now, you guys are saying, well, dude, that's a confirmed kill for sure. It's a confirmed hit. Is that a confirmed kill? The guy could have been wearing plate. He could have had 2 plates on. It could have been a rubber mannequin for all I know, right? It is a confirmed hit. So I have confirmed kills. If you can take the casing, and there are casings in the man room, empty casings, and you look at them, they look like they got rust on them. That's biohazard, where I have walked up and rubbed them in the blood of the guy that used to own those molecules. Right? I'm not big on looting. I'm not big on cutting off ears and crazy shit like that. That's not me. I save casings. and understand if the guy drops in the road and he's still there 2 days later and the M1 Abrams tank runs over him and everything because he's a piece of trash now. You understand? Okay, I will give you that's a confirmed kill. I got that. I got it. But you understand the difference from me and my guys saying this is a confirmed kill and a lot of other units. So when I hear people saying, well, I've got 208 confirmed kills or I've got 36 confirmed kills, okay, but where did I learn this? I learned this from the old Vietnam guys, Mr. White, who was our mentor, one of the greatest firearms sniper instructors I ever met, hands down. He was a sniper in Vietnam. A lot of these other guys, Chuck Mulvaney, 101st sniper. Same thing. He had over 100 confirmed kills. You actually met Gunny Hathcock.
Hathcock, yeah.
93 confirmed kills. Had the record forever, right? And these guys, if you couldn't see the body laying there, if you couldn't come over and retrieve the body, if the bad guys drug it off into the woods, that was not a confirmed kill. So,
because sometimes, as a sniper, as a shooter, you can find yourself in the environment that is a very target-rich environment, and I've been there in those type of environments. You can find yourself in an environment for weeks and months where you got nothing. I mean, you got a lot of report, and because observation and reporting what you see is as important of a job for a sniper as shooting. That's why I call it scout sniper.
Yeah.
Scout sniper. Marine Corps call it scout sniper. Okay. And so you can get into a target-rich environment like Fallujah and places like that. One of the ones that I will say that if somebody else told me that, hey, this guy said he had X amount of confirmed kills, and I would have heard that number and the amount of time frame that it happened, yeah, I would have said bullshit. However, I had enough witnesses and the confirmed Siege of Sword reports that, and this is, I've talked about this before, about Master Sergeant Kevin Moorhead. And he was with the coalition, the Iraq, Afghanistan forces. They got trapped on a mountainside, and the bad guys were coming up this ravine, and there was a whole bunch of bad guys. So it was a target-rich environment. Kevin was running a Mark 12 SPR, shooting Mark 262 ammo. I think we were running PVS 7s with our night sights back then. I can't remember.
No, he had a 17. Would have been a 17.
Yeah, PVS 17. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking about. So Kevin got off to the flanks and went down the ravine about 250 meters, and he had another guy with him. Keep in mind, Kevin was a medic, but he's also one of the snipers on the team. As called is a medic, but he's also sniper on the team and sniper team leader, and then later on, the whole thing. So basically, when Kevin got off to the flanks, this is at night. Remember, they're not wearing night vision. So whenever the guys would pop up out of the rocks to fire up on top of the hill at the guys, Kevin running a Mark 12 SPR with the first suppressor we used were the Ops Inc. suppressors.
Ops Inc., yeah.
And he had a PVS 17. He was about 85 yards off their flank. So as they stood up, their left side was facing him. Guy was standing with an RPG, he'd pop him. Guy standing up with a machine gun, he'd pop him. Well, keep in mind, these guys are taking incoming rounds from up top. Mm-hmm. The guys are dropping 2 or 3 rounds. They're shooting back. It's crazy. It's 300-400 guys down in this ravine. So the next morning, when the sun came up and they got the fast movers in there, down in the valley, they blew the shit out of everybody down there. Okay. Later on, doing the bomb damage assessment sweep, one of the guys pointed out that a bunch of the dead guys in that ravine within a certain area had all been shot underneath the left armpit. And it turned out to be like 53 guys. Unless that guy was shooting up the hilltop and something made him turn this way, the guys up there couldn't have hit him in the left side.
Yeah, it had to be.
So it was left side hits. And Kevin basically said, man, I wasn't keeping count. Every time a guy would pop up from cover, he would hit him. So if somebody else would have told me that story and said, hey, what do you think about the story here? I would have said, yeah, I don't know, man. But, and however...
you get a couple instances like that.
And Kevin was awarded a Silver Star for his actions that evening. Pretty much confirmed that. So when people ask me, what do I think? I'm like, I wasn't there. I haven't heard the story. I haven't seen anything about it. Now, when I finally met Kevin, because I'd heard about him, because he's in the 3rd Battalion, 5th Group, and I'm running Force Mod Combat Development, but I heard about it, and I heard that this guy won Silver Star. I said, man, I want to meet this guy one day. So we were running a demonstration range on the Mark 12s and the 6.8s and the XM109 Barretts and 25 millimeter. And Kevin was the medic for that range that day. And after the range closed down, he walked to me and said, hey, are we done? Can I leave? And I was like, hey, Doc, yeah, I appreciate you, supporting the range and everything else. He said, man, this is amazing what's happening with you. And he was talking to me and Phil Seeberger, who was the owner, designer of Ops Inc. suppressors. And he said, I want to shake your hand. I go, for what? He said, you saved my life. And I was like, I just met you, yesterday. He goes, yeah. Well, then he told me the story. And I was like, oh my gosh, man, I want to shake your hand. I've been wanting to meet you for months, And that is a story that I can say that number of confirmed kills was confirmed. But any other time I hear, if a guy was on the ground for a long time, or he rotated in country, every 6 months for like 5 years.
Well, the guy did say he served 10 years at Dev Group.
Yeah, over 10 years, yeah.
Over 10, but understand they're not sitting there pulling gate guard and stuff. They're doing raids. So I don't know. I was like Steve says, we weren't there. We don't call bullshit. We don't, because every time you want to call bullshit, and there's a lot of guys that exaggerate what they did. There's a lot of guys that did. Hell, you meet somebody in the airport, and every one of them tells you they were a Green Beret. There were so many Green Berets in Afghanistan, you couldn't see the desert floor because of all the green hats in the way. There was everybody was a Green Beret.
Oasis everywhere. Well, keep in mind, when people ask me sometimes, they say, hey, were you a free fall guy? See, I was a senior free fall jump master. They said, well, how many jumps do you have? I stopped telling people. I really did. I stopped telling people because they would look at me like I was crazy. But no one quite understood that I served in an airborne unit for 30 years.
Yeah.
30. You know how many jumps you would register? Especially with my whole team time was free fall teams. I was on two teams, different teams, other than running the sniper school, then running combat development. I was on 2 different teams out of those 30 years for 16 years. You know how many jumps I got in? I got to the point where, you
go to what they call a Halo train up. It'll be 5 days, maybe 7 days, 8 days. But in that time, in that 5 to 7 days, you're jumping 3 to 5 jumps per day. 3 to 5 jumps per day. So if you're there 5 days, in that 5 days, at a minimum, you got 15 jumps. At a minimum, you got 15 jumps. Do that once a month. You understand how the numbers add up really,
probably
really quick.
You're looking at
really quick.
300 to 400 jumps a year. Okay, here's a free fall Halo shaking my head moment. Okay, we're out in Yuma doing the train up, as Carl was just talking about, and in the daytime, now we work from Halo up to Hay-Holes. Okay, now Hay-Hole is a high altitude, high opening. A Halo is you go 12,000 feet, 17,000 feet. You get down to 4,000, you open your chute. Takes about 1,000 feet for your chute to open, so you come on a canopy about 3,000 feet sometimes. So a Hay-Hole, if you jump 12.5, you paused out for like 3 or 4 seconds, and then you popped open. Then if you went 17.5, you would have to do like a 10,000 count, and you come on the canopy like 15,000 feet. Dude, that's a hell of a ride when you're sitting 2 little nylon straps in your crotch is what's saving you from falling 15,000 feet to the earth. So in the daytime, we had to jump to the west of the drop zone, and we come over these mountains because that's the way the winds were going. But at night, the winds would shift. So we were coming in from the east onto this drop zone in the middle of the desert in Yuma, Arizona. At the leading edge of this drop zone, one of those big, giant desert cactuses, like you see on the old Western cartoons.
And they're always waving at you.
Yeah, it's like Wile E. Coyote and shit like that, right?
Like this.
So they were just
waving at you.
Yeah. They got this one cactus on the leading edge of this drop zone. This cactus was huge, okay? I'm talking about oak tree huge. Probably 45 inches around in diameter. It had to be 20 feet high, maybe 25 feet, with the two waving arms at you. But we've been jumping this drop zone for almost 3 weeks. So one night we do hop and pop release at 17.5, and it was like 10 teams. One team would go, the plane would orbit, next team would go. So we came in like team number 4, and we're coming in sliders, and they got chem lights on any obstacles on the leading edge of the drop zone, which everybody knew the only obstacle out here in the desert was this big ass yucca plant. So we came out number 4. By the time we landed, packed our chutes up, and we were coming in, walking up to the drop zone. I think we came in a little bit short of the drop zone. We heard the next team that had come in behind us. We heard them coming over our head because they're sliders. You can hear the sliders on the square canopies just right here.
It's a piece of cloth that's on all the parachute cord attaching your parachute.
Google it.
It's a square, and it's designed to come down slowly so your parachute opens a little smoother. It's called a slider.
It keeps all your suspension lines, parachute lines, bringing them into one group so you can control them.
Yeah.
So as we were walking by, we heard the guys going over our head. They had a really good release, so they made the drop zone when we didn't. So as we were listening, I hear whoof, gotta go over, whoof, gotta go over, whoof, gotta go over. Then we hear this, and we hear oh, and everybody goes no. And we turn around, and you can see the silhouette of this big desert cactus and the guy's parachute that came over the top of the cactus, and I was pulling him into the cactus, and all these spines are stuck in him, and he's like 10 feet off the ground. He's like, ah! And we said, how the hell could you not see what we've been seeing for 3 weeks?
Yep.
And that's just one of those moments as they took him to the hospital, downtown Yuma, Arizona, whatever that hospital is called, for his 30 to 35 day vacation at the hospital, because they had to leave him there as all the spines would.
They're barbed.
They're barbed, so they would have to naturally.
You got to let them fester up. The pus will get so thick around it that they can then rip it out. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. It's like jumping in Grandview Prairie, Texas, and hitting a windmill. It's like, it's there, guys. It's been there. It ain't going to move.
Mike Johnson's got one for Steve. Steve, what makes an accurate precision AR? What makes an accurate AR? First, the correct word is precision.
An accurate precision shooter. Because I can give
elaborate a little bit more.
I'll give you a $3,500. I'll give you a $3,500 accurate precision AR, and if you can't shoot worth a damn, then that gun ain't going to shoot worth a damn. Okay. So, I see a lot of advertisements and videos that people send me. You all right, brother?
No, I'm good.
Should I call?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not just.
I don't have to call out a man down.
Keep going.
I want to learn.
Keep going.
He is such a whiner. Yeah. If they hurt you, hurt them back. If they kill you, walk it off. So, I mean, I've seen so many advertisements of people and these different companies out there with these accurized, accurate up and lower receiver. And I've seen so many manufacturing companies who make ARs, uppers and lowers, and got a lot of them into the game. And I see these advertisements of that this one is more accurate than that. The machine tolerance is 0.00000 to the zero. I'm like, okay. I've seen companies advertise barrels that cost more than some other person's entire AR-15 setup. I've seen triggers that cost 50% of what people paid for their rifle. Scopes, scope mounts. But then again, I've seen trash also. I've seen systems that were, trash. Wouldn't shoot worth a shit. Okay? What makes an accurate AR is I would say good tolerance all the way around. Good tolerance from your uppers and lowers. Good tolerance from your barrels. How the barrel is fitted up. Your lands and grooves. The throat of the barrel. The crown of the barrel. Then you get to your ammunition. Because if like I said, if you got a $3,500 accurate rifle, but your ammunition is crap, then is it really an accurate precision rifle? If you're not shooting good groups. So when I get a rifle, I got an AR rifle in like a gazillion years. I just try to have a good barrel, a decent trigger, a good decent scope, because you're shooting for accuracy, and really, 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 really good ammo. I mean, I'm talking about to the 10th of the grain, and checking, every 10 rounds. If you're going for this max precision, crazy accuracy, okay? So, I'm probably not the person to ask, because I've had systems that were built by some of the great guys, John Clements, Sean Waller.
Stoner. He's met Stoner. Like the Stoner.
Eugene Stoner. Yeah, I met Eugene Stoner and Mikhail Kalashnikov. Both of them at the same time at a show in Europe. Spent time with Gunnar Hancock.
It's not that he's met Reed Knight. It's Reed Knight hates Steve so much he loves Steve.
He doesn't hate me. He actually gave me a compliment one time at the SHOT Show.
It was a blatant slap in the face.
No, it wasn't. He told me, he said, because of you, I became a better person at business, dealing with, the soft guys and Crane, because I knew if we didn't hold to the tolerances that we were supposed to hold to, Steve Holland will pop up on the radar screen and say it's unacceptable. So, and that was a compliment to me. Yeah. And so I wouldn't say
Gina
he hates
Brad
me.
is back. Thoughts on blast deflector muzzle devices. All right, said he just picked up the Blasphemy deflector by Huxworks. Do you have any experience with these types of products? Again, I'm gonna let Steve go over this sexy rifle right here in a minute. I'm gonna move. I'll turn the camera for him. Let me just get caught up a little bit because we're falling behind. Without further ado, how many battalions were there when you guys were in the Army? How many battalions?
In a Special Forces group or in a regular...
The Special Forces group has 4 battalions. It used to only have 3. You have 4 battalions now. They have 4. They're talking about getting rid of the 4th battalion.
It comes and goes. It cycles in, it cycles out.
Every time you go back to peacetime, they downsize.
Yeah.
Paul American, question, Steve, did you ever train in Alaska, deep snow training, in case of Western entry into Russia, or were you trained entry from the East?
I have not ever trained in Alaska. I trained in Montana for 3 months against missile silos in the worst winter they ever had in 50 years. And of course, our scheduling guy, he scheduled, I was like, dude, how can you schedule us for the worst winter storm they've had in 50 years? And for what we were told, that was worse than Alaska. I'm talking, I don't know, 45, 46 inches of snow, temperature dropped down to minus 50.
The 10th group guys
they were pushing us out of the back of a C-130 with Akios. So, shaking my head moment. We couldn't see the drop zone.
Yeah.
So we're like, it's like, what's going on? They say, can't see the drop zone, so they're going to take us back to the airfield. We get back to the airfield, and a deuce and a half's waiting for us. So we get all our gear. We didn't all the Snow White, get our Akios with all the equipment on the back of the truck, but we're going off the base instead of back to the barracks. I said, where are we going? They said, well, the company commander is going to take you guys back to the drop zone, push your gear out of the truck like you jumped in, and you're still going to carry the mission out. I was like, I'm shaking my fucking head, man.
10th group, you understand they're responsible for Europe, which includes Russia and stuff. They would do a lot more winter training than me and Steve were 5th group.
Which is desert.
We would do, but it's not just desert. We're responsible for the Middle East desert, the Horn of Africa, desert, and then all the stands, which has a lot of desert.
So that's why
they overlap. We cross train. Guys would change from group to group, but for the most part,
that's why you never hear about 5th group guys getting in trouble.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah,
drinking and women. No, you'll hear from 5th group because we're where. Right here in the desert.
Without further ado, Tactical Rifleman, have you guys ever shot with David Tubb, Tubb?
I have. Okay. I spent a lot of time with Brother David. I learned a lot from David Tubb. I really did. I can't remember.
Familiar.
He's a match shooter at Camp Perry. In other competition disciplines. I can't remember whether I met him at Perry or at the AMU. Might have been both. But we had him down in Sniper Locker a couple of times just as a spokesman, like doing a graduation and stuff like that. We used his AR-15 buffer springs. He had those silicone buffer springs that were better than the off-the-shelf stuff the Army built. He came up with that reticle. I can't remember the name of it, but if I remember the name of it, you would recognize it right away. But great guy. I haven't seen David in
Jerry J.
15 years.
Got another one. It's Jerry J from Czechoslovakia, so I got to do.
So you do it.
Jerry J
got to do them.
Steve, did you shoot VZ-58? If so, what you think about that rifle? A VZ-58.
I know of a VZ-58.
I've never shot.
I've shot it. I think we were doing something almost like, we would do foreign weapons.
Yeah.
We had all these different weapon systems. I didn't really shoot it that much, Jerry. It's like when you're involved in stuff like that, you're running the show. You're not, engaging in letting all these different people do all these different things.
But I don't know.
I shot it. I mean, I didn't have any complaints about it.
Next one, Henry Barr. When is the Patreon question and answer video coming out? Henry, I actually just filmed it this afternoon. I had to wait for the meds to wear off. You'll see the video will probably go live tomorrow. My son has got to take the memory card out of the camera. There were some good questions this month. What we're talking about, guys, is for our patrons, you go to patreon.com/Tactical Rifleman. You can become a patron of Tactical Rifleman. I understand all our videos get demonetized on YouTube now. We don't make any money off of YouTube. But patrons, like a lot of them are here tonight, you can be a $1 patron, you can be a $5, a $20 patron, you can be a $200 patron, and you can if you're a $2 patron, you get a quick shooting tip every video that's not every month. I do a quick shooting tip video that's not available on the open internet. $5 patrons, you get story time with Carl. And again, a video that's not available on the internet. And one of the ones is for my Bronze Star patrons is a question and answer video. It's not like here where me and Steve answer it over 3 minutes. I would allow Steve to talk as long as he wanted on each one of those questions. So anyways, I just filmed that today. I was stuck on the couch. This was actually my first time coming down the stairs to get here. My wife had to help me down the stairs. The violin.
Yeah.
He's playing My Heart Bleeds for You, Carl. That's what he's doing. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate the support.
Always,
right,
man.
So anyways, that video should be out tomorrow. Max Smith, for Steve, is blowback pressure an issue with the Noveske Flaming Pig?
Not that I've seen. I have not seen that issue at all.
You're catching a little more, but not as much as putting a full-blown silencer on the gun. So I will.
Now really pay attention to blowback pressure, because unbeknownst to a lot of people, when you hear me talk about, precision reflex, and shame on them, in their claims on the Mark 12. The M84 charging handle, the gas buster, I actually designed that, drew it up, and it was part of the whole contract from Crane to them. So of course they take claim for just about everything on the Mark 12. But I pay a lot of attention to when I'm running muzzle devices because I'm big into not being into the suppressor clan because I don't want the ATF come up knocking on my door and say, I'm going to inspect you, this other stuff. So no. So I run whatever I can run and stay legal. And linear muzzle brakes I've found, especially since the last Patreon course and Mr. 338 LaPoule with his horizontal muzzle brakes, blowing everybody's earmuffs off. None noticeable that I could tell. And I shoot a lot of linear muzzle brakes.
All right, we got another one here from my uncle James Swain. Question: what do y'all think about compensated Glock 17 barrels? All right, as soon as he said Glock 17, for those of you that are not Glock people, understand that is the duty length pistol chambered in 9mm. Now, in other words, it's not a subcompact that's really, really light that's going to snap. It is not a 40 Smith & Wesson or a 10mm. It is a little sissy 9mm in a heavy gun. So if you're running a compensated 9mm barrel, maybe if it's in like a Glock 18 that's full auto, but he specifically mentions a Glock 17. If you are, don't get me wrong, if you have a Virginia and you don't have any arms, or you've got one arm because the other one was taken off in a car wreck and you have a Virginia, and you don't have any forearm strength or upper arm strength or lower strength or inner strength, any inner strength at all basically, and you have a Virginia, then maybe get a compensated barrel. But the guys that say, well, compensated barrel allows you to run hotter ammo and it completely gets rid of the muzzle flip, understand just locking your wrists. You can shoot a Glock 17 one-handed, and the key is locking your wrists, guys. You can shoot it with it out, you can shoot with it back, but the key is locking. If you lock your wrists. So did I bash that enough for you, James? Yeah, I'm not big on compensated. No, I'm so not here for compensated.
Byron, I will call you, brother.
Yeah.
And to Charlie Mike, I asked Charlie Mike if he had anything that he wanted to talk about, and you showed his picture last week on the show when I was over at the 5th Group Hall of Heroes.
Okay.
The former
Yep.
acting SecDef.
Yep.
We just call him Charlie Mike. That's his new name, Charlie Mike. He wanted to express how lucky, and we all say the same thing, how lucky we are to have served in the regiment. And when they say the regiment, they're talking about the 5th Special Forces Group. And now it's all about us giving back. Because we've served our time, and we got new guys in the fight, and us old guys, whenever we get the opportunity, we give back to the community. And we continue to do that. A lot of the different programs that I worked on while I was there are still active. Actually, the Mark 12 SPR is still active in the group. The guys love it, from what I've been told.
Yeah.
The Mark 262 ammo is still active. The minigun is still active, but the guys are, again, they're fighting that same battle we were talking about and fighting in 2005 and 2006 against the forces of darkness coming out of these weapons committees, these bureaucracies. It's like, oh, you shoot too much ammo. Like, but we're killing a lot of bad guys, And so whenever we get the chance, we appreciate the opportunity to give back. And I often tell the guys, if there's anything I can do for you, or we can do for you, or some of the guys would like to be on this show, just let us know. Because, I mean, it's like we're out, but we're not out. It's hard to say. Like Carl said, no one can call him and he can say no. If they say, hey, guys, have you heard about this, or have you tried this kind of system? Do you know about anybody that makes something accurate AR-15? How do we make our AR-15s more accurate without getting the weapons bureaucracies mad at us? We try to help as often as we can. And thank you, Charlie Mike. We appreciate what you did for us. And you're one of the legends. I mean, you achieved something that, serving as, assistant acting Secretary of Defense under President Trump. That makes us like woohoo, because I mean you're one of us, you're one of our brothers, and you achieved that level.
We were happy to hear you up there.
Yeah, and we watch you all the time, and what I love about it, and I told the guys last week when we were at the Hall of Heroes, and you and I were talking, I said, Charlie Mike, he's still himself, and he's still SF. And I was so proud to tell him that, because somebody gets up to what do you call it, acting sec def or the sec def, and then you're into that Washington swamp thing, and you're trying to survive and bound. People change, they do, but you and Mr. Mack, Mr. McCollum, I mean, you guys are still and always in the fight for us, and we appreciate it so much.
All right, I'm going to give Steve the table here real quick, guys, so he can show you. Because you understand, Steve's got a gun he wants to talk about, but he's not allowed to touch it. So he's got the ammo and stuff. Real quick, a bunch of you guys have been commenting how wishes for me to heal up, and I appreciate that. Some of you are asking how I'm enjoying my forced downtime. Understand, I'm not enjoying it at all. The pain sucks. I'm not big on pain pills, so I can deal with the pain. I'm not big on the loss of mobility, and right now it sucks that I couldn't get around Steve's go bag over here with my walker. So
it's not a go bag; it's a haversack.
It's a haversack.
A haversack.
So, anyways, I'm not enjoying my downtime, but I'm doing good, guys. I am. You ask my wife; she'll tell you that I am. I'm getting around better than I was yesterday. Yesterday I was getting around better than I was the day before. In just the last couple hours, my entire ankle has, because I've been sitting with all my blood running down, my ankle just turned purple, all on the inside. It's kind of cool. It's pitting edema. If you see me bend forward, that's me pushing my finger into my lower calf around my ankle, and I can get it in about to the first knuckle and pull my finger out, and that dent is still staying there. You understand, that's expected, but it's not what you want to have happen. So I'm going to go walk this off a little bit. I'm going to go find some Motrin or something.
I'm hit. Go on without me.
I might go put this up somewhere.
Woohoo.
All right, so Steve, I'm gonna give you the table here.
Okay.
Real quick, I want to say thank you to Erica Hodstetler and Marvin from New York City. Marvin, thank you for your service up there behind enemy lines. Thank you for sending me the bottle of Cafe Patron XO. Steve, I'm gonna give you this. Oh, don't ever do that. Don't ever stand up. Don't do it.
I think I got everything.
I'm going to give you the big boy chair. Don't move that fast. Don't move. All right, you slide over. Ooh.
I'm hit. Go on without me.
Oh,
or as the brothers say, I'm hit. Y'all better not
guys,
leave me.
I'm going to turn this so that you guys can see, and move that bottle of Patron, so I don't want people thinking that we're...
Why don't we move it to my haversack?
No. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll take it.
Let's move the Patron to my haversack.
All right, guys, I will be back. I'm not leaving you stuck with Steve.
For a disappearing act. They want to be stuck with Steve.
I know they do.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so I'm going to go over a system with you guys real quick. And I'm going to have a complete AR system, and I'm going to have an upper receiver. So the upper receiver is a part of the rifle, so I'm not actually holding a complete rifle. So please don't turn us off. Talking to the YouTube guru Gestapo guys. I mean no insult, but the only thing I think of is like Gestapo, Or I guess I could say like FBI, because they're like out of control these days anyway. Anyway, so reference to linear muzzle brakes. This right here, and I'm not going to touch it, is a Fight Light SCR AR-15 system. So basically what you have is, get as close as I can without messing this up, is an AR-15 system without a pistol grip. It has a straight rifle stock. And it's called the SCR. And I know all you guys are like, well, Steve, how do we get this? There's a search engine called Google. I tell you guys this all the time. I don't do all your work for you. Okay? And by the way, Miss Susan Bridger, how are you doing? I've been meaning to text you and ask how you are doing. Do a health and wellness check. So shout out to Susan, Ozzy. And Glenn better be taking good care of you. Let me know if he's not. And let me know how you're doing. Okay? So, guys, for people that don't like pistol grip type AR-15 assault rifle type things, and for people that grew up with like straight rifles, I grew up with straight stock shotguns, straight stock rifles. Back in my day, down in southeast Georgia, in Brunswick, Georgia, St. Simon's Island, Jekyll Island, Sapelo Island, Cumberland Island, Jacksonville, Florida. The big hunting guns were the Remington 7600 pumps and the 7400 semi-automatics, and like 30-06, 270 Winchester, stuff like that. Or whichever one was pump, whichever one was semi-automatic. So I grew up with that. So as a sniper and sniper instructor, I spent a lot of time with bolt guns, straight rifle. As a combat developer, spent a lot of time with AR-15s, or M4s, M4A1s, XM747s, the Mark 12 SPRs. But I still have an affinity for straight rifle stock. So Ares Defense, look them up, ARES Defense, and Fight Light, FIGHTLITE, has the sporter stock for AR-15. And so basically what you're going to do is you take your lower off of your AR-15 and you take this lower, as you can see, I hope you can see this. I'm pretty sure you guys are Googling it, and you can see where the mag goes in here. And you're going to change out the bolt carrier group. Okay? You're going to take your bolt out of your bolt carrier group, put your bolt into their bolt carrier group, which has a little pigtail, and there's a return spring in the stock, just like your buffer spring. Except now, you don't have to have the height of the scope so high, and I've talked about this before, where your AR-15 stock will come straight across and it forces you up to that 1.5 to 1.75 inch height to see your scope. And we've often talked about the height of the scope as it affects accuracy as you get closer to the bore of the rifle. The closer the center of the scope is to the bore of the rifle, the more accurate and the more accuracy you will have at points of impact out to distance. Because the higher you go away from the bore and where the height of the sight line crosses where the bullet is at a certain point, and you make adjustments beyond that, you lose some accuracy, and there's some other things in there. But I know I keep going on and on the call. I was like, Steve, you're taking too long. So anyway, this system, I'm using a Flaming Pig. This system right here is a 6.8 LMT MRP upper, and running an 18-inch stainless steel barrel. I'm running my gas tube at mid-length at 10 inches, which will help me to stay within the proper cycling rate that I like for AR-15s if I'm not out to 20 inches as you would with the M16A2. And it's all about the dwell time after the bullet passes the gas port, but I don't want to get too deep into that either. So basically, I'm running an MRP upper in 6.8 using the Noveske Flaming Pig. That is the 300. That's the larger one. And again, why I like linear muzzle brakes is they're trapping a lot of the gas and blast and allowing the bullet to come clean. And that also affects your accuracy. And consider a linear muzzle brake as like a megaphone. When somebody's talking, you notice that the sound is coming out of the megaphone. You notice how all megaphones are like curved like that. They want that sound to push. They don't want the sound to like come out right here. We want to stay away from that. We don't want to affect the shooters to our left and right, and we want to reduce our muzzle signature for somebody that's shooting back at us. So there is a cone inside the body of this that is shaped like a megaphone. And imagine you took the megaphone, took the speaker part, the trigger part off, the electronic part, and pulled that off, and you got just the cone. And then the bullet passes through that part, and the rest of the flash goes up toward the top, and it's trapped here, and then out. Then the blast gets pushed out away from the shooter. We don't want it to the left and right. I don't want to affect the guys that are moving with me to my left and right. I don't want to kick up dust or dirt and grass where someone that's doing counterfire can see my shooting position. So there are other linear muzzle brakes out there. I've tried a few. I know there's a hate brake, and there's a couple other ones that I've seen in advertisements, but I haven't ever shot before or worked with, so I can't give you my opinion on that. The hate brake, I do like a part of the hate brake where you use, I think it's a 1/4-inch socket to go in from the front when you place it on when you screw it in, and then you take that and lock it down, and you can clock it any way you want to. I do like that portion of it. I do like that the hate brake comes in different caliber sizes. 5.56, 6.5. I think they got 6.8, 30 caliber, and 35 caliber. Noveski Pig is their cone, their inside cone is like at 35, I believe, because I can shoot 9mm, because I have some on a 9mm carbine, like the Henry Homesteader that car has. They don't make a inner cone that is caliber specific. So that's something I would like to see them work out, because I think it would improve the efficiency, but I'm pretty sure they're doing that for safety reasons. So now, along with this, with the SCR, what I wanted to talk about is I want to pick up an upper. It's not a gun system, okay? It's just a complete upper. And this is a complete upper that would drop onto this lower or your AR-15 lower. And the reason I'm talking about this on the show tonight, and because we like to talk about things unique, we're not getting paid by any specific company to advertise that stuff, and we don't do that. We have sponsors, but we don't advertise stuff for a specific company. This is a SBR, Southern Ballistic Research, ammunition company down in Brunswick, Georgia, Glenn County. And this is the upper for they're an ammunition company, but this is an upper for their ammunition. And one of the calibers that they make that I like, and you guys know I'm all about 6.8, they make this upper in 375 SOCOM. Look at that beauty. So if you can imagine this upper, I'll take the 6.8 upper off and drop this upper onto that straight rifle upper right there from Fight Light. I'm going to have a elephant killer. That is a 375 SOCOM. This is the 375 SOCOM upper receiver available from Southern Ballistic Research, Precision Ammunition. Now, you will notice that I haven't done any work with this system because it has a horizontal muzzle brake on it, and we don't want to shoot a 375 SOCOM cartridge out of an upper that has a horizontal muzzle brake, especially if we're shooting next to someone else. So we're going to have to work on that, because at bore size .375, the Flaming Pig stops at .350. So I'm going to have to talk to my good friend Mr. Lickerbow at Noveski and see if we can work something out so we can run the 375 SOCOM through a Flaming Pig. To give you a better understanding on the size, I'm going to grab my trusty dusty haversack. This is 6.8 SPC for this system right here. And that, as you know, is larger, much larger than 5.56. Now this is a 6.8 compared to the Southern Ballistic Research 375 SOCOM. Now, man, I look at that and I think Texas and hog hunting. I think this would put an AR-15, and I'm talking about your larger 7.62 308 Winchester size, 12, 13 pound. I'm talking about your standard size AR-15. I think this 375 SOCOM puts the AR-15 into black bear country category. What do you guys think? So, what are your questions on the Southern Ballistic Research 375 SOCOM? Their ammunition. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. 375 SOCOM. Or the 375 SBR drop on upper receiver for that caliber. Ta-da. And what I want to do is pop that. You know how we always say in daily life, have a knife and have a light. So we have a light. USB rechargeable. Let's see if we can do this. Ta-da, ta-da. Turn. Woo, look at that. That is a bore size 375 caliber. Get you steady up. There we go. That is a big bore. Keep working it, Steve. You can do it. I'm trying to steady it and not have the light so bright that you can't see. Now, this up on a straight rifle stock, or if you're listening, Fight Light, Mr. Jeff, sir, this upper 375 SOCOM on the new Fight Light lever action AR-15 lower will be just something that will slide me slightly away from always shooting a 6.8 upper receiver, because I like this. I really like this. It's not something that I would consider if I was going tactical, because I know 6.8 what his ballistic performance is against a threat. I know how many rounds I can carry. Get back. How many rounds it will carry. But still, when I'm talking about hanging out in the woods or out in Texas or the woods and hills of Kentucky or San Antonio, the hill country, then some black bear areas, some big hog areas, I would like an AR in 375 SOCOM. I really would. So that being said, I'm not even paying attention to your questions, right? Let's see. Steve, the man, go back and all kinds of Steve development. 377 SOCOM with Gallagher. Okay, we're not talking about watermelons. How expensive is the 375 SOCOM ammo? That is a good question. Raymond, I know you're watching. Raymond is my contact and my good friend in Southern Ballistic Research Ammunition Company down in Brunswick, Georgia, Glenn County. Raymond, they're asking about price. I love to work next to Steve in the Armory for a month, fine-tuning a rifle. Paul American, it wouldn't take us a month to fine-tune a rifle. Not at all. Craft one. Let's see the 458 SOCOM. I don't have a 458 SOCOM with me. I'm not a fan of the 458 SOCOM. I worked with the 458 SOCOM when it was first introduced. I think it was the 458 SOCOM and the 450 Bushmaster. We actually looked at that as what would it do for us in our programs. And I was one of the originators of the SOP mod, Block 1 and Block 2. We had the guys come down and meet us at Parks Range down in Fort Benning, the AMU, and we had like an industry day. We had guys come down and bring us the big calibers because we don't say no to anything. It might be like a boutique type of situation, but we wanted to see it. So I looked at the 458, the 450, whatever it's called, the Bushmaster version, and what the guys liked and what I liked about the 375 SOCOM is it does give you that punch that we were looking in regards to, barrier penetration, but it still had a decent ballistic coefficient. Now, it didn't have a lot of rounds. I don't think there's a magazine that's specifically made for the 375 SOCOM. I believe a 20-round AR-15 magazine will hold like 10 rounds of a 357 or 458 SOCOM. I'm not sure. I'll have to check on that. Raymond, you can answer that also. But based on what I thought and what I think we had maybe 5 or 16 guys down there with us, they liked the 375 SOCOM more just because it had a little bit better ballistic coefficient but could still punch barriers as good as the 458 SOCOM. Hope that answers your question. Okay. Wants to know, Kelsey Dotson. Steve, tell us what the upper and that ammo will cost. Let me get back to you guys. I really didn't get into cost. We actually did a video, myself, Carl, and Emery, year before last. We went down to a gathering of social influencers, which was my first social influencing gatherers. I mean, I didn't really know what a social influencer was. And we got a chance to go to Southern Ballistic Research, and we made a video of their manufacturing process for ammunition, which is great. I mean, they're a small company. I mean, as compared to like, a Hornady or Remington or Winchester or Federal. So they can make, custom boutique ammunition like this one for a small group of guys that want to have something special and unique and something very powerful, because it is very powerful. Stay with me. You guys are talking about my light, and you get some light ideas. I also brought this one with me. This is a regular, gutter cleaning bore light. And so we're going to try this one again. I guess it would help if I took the bolt carrier apart with it. Yes, it would. So let's try this one again. Okay. Okay. Steady. It's very difficult to get the light right and the muzzle. Anyway, that's a big orifice right there. That's a big orifice. Steady. Remember I told you the human body is always in motion? It's a dynamic machine. Even when you're sleeping, it's in motion. So that's why it's hard to hold a half-minute angle at any given time. So that is, find the hole. That is your 375. 375. SOCOM. Now, I'm going to take this right here. Oh, there, sweet Nelly. Get out of there, Nelly. That is, da-da. The difference in size. The 375 SOCOM and the 6.8 SBC. That's a beast. That is a beast. And that is, it is a 250 grain Barnes triple shock. So that is a unleaded bullet that is pure copper with a ballistic tip. Okay, we're going back. Okay, did I get it there? Okay, I'm so blind. Ta-da! Switch. If you have to ask, it's too much. Okay. Da-da-da. Full metal jacket, got that. The price of 20-ounce soda. Okay. Jerry J, I understand why you like 338. I agree. But, again, everyone has their different flavors. Suffering Succotash. SBR's website says $625 for the upper and about $2.25 per round for ammo, approximately, and both in stock. Suffering Succotash, I don't know the exact price. I guess I should have asked that. I just want to show what can be done if you can want to change different calibers to get away from 5.56. Of course, we don't want to get away from 6.8, do we? We love ourselves at 6.8. But 375 SOCOM, from my experience when I've shot it back in the day, it's a beast. And sometimes it takes a beast to slay a beast. So I like it. I like it. You know that, and I like the AR-10 style Mark 11 M110 size, 7.62 308 Winchester rifles. I mean, I shoot them, especially when, on Sundays when we're here with Carl. I just don't use one, carry one, or anything like that. It's almost like bolt guns. Bolt guns are heavy. 308 Winchester ARs are heavy. A regular AR-15, to me, once you put everything on and you break 8 pounds, that's too much for me for a fight gun. But again, I like the 375 SOCOM. I like what it brings to the table. I mean, I wish the ammo was 50 cents a round, but it is what it is. But then again, it's not going to take as much. I'm pretty sure that if you have to triple tap somebody with 5.56, you're not going to triple tap them with a 375 SOCOM. I would call that a fight stopper. 350 SOCOM, good for hunting for sure. Okay, JJ, ballistics on 370 SOCOM. Okay, you guys started asking me questions where I often say you got to get on that search engine and do your own Google work. Question, gentlemen, thoughts on other calibers than 5.56 for work gun rifles? 6.8, 308, 6.5 Grendel, 6mm ARC. 6mm ARC. Okay, the 6mm ARC. It's a 6.8 neck down to 6mm. Okay, so the cartridge case is smaller than a 243 Winchester. So the 243 Winchester is basically a 6mm 308. I used to hunt with 243 Winchester and a Winchester 88 lever action rifle. I didn't have a lot of success with some really good shots on deer, so I stopped hunting with. I won't own a 243 Winchester. So why would I want a 6mm ARC, which has less powder capacity, less velocity than a 243 Winchester? Why would I want that? It's all about bore size. That's why we looked at the different bore sizes when we did the 6.8. Remember, 6.8 was the last one. 270 bore was the last one that I did. The first one was, the dummy cartridge was 25 caliber. The actual first one was a 6.5 SPC. And I still have the original rifle, so it's a bolt action CZ. Love that gun. I love the cartridge. I mean, it was a target shooter's dream for an AR-15. You know, going up to Camp Perry, talking to the guys, everybody loves 6.5. One of the things that I emphasized in that project was we're not going to listen to paper punchers. We're going to get away from the people that shoot holes in paper. We were shooting holes in people. So we went from 6.5 to 7mm, and I still got some of the original cases. It says 7mm SPC. Then we have 7.62 SPC. I actually did a 5.56 SPC with the SS-109 bullets. We went back to 270 because Troy Lawton, the guy that runs Parks Range out of the AMU, he said, "Steve, you know you skipped over to 270." I said, Troy, we normally don't think 270, we think military calibers. 6.5 from back in the day with the South Africans and the Japanese and the Norwegians and the Finns and those guys, and 7mm. So I said, okay, let's do one upper in 270, and then we're going to do one bolt gun in 270, and we're going to try it. I had some cases made, and when we ran all the gelatin tests with Gary Roberts and with the FBI Ballistic Research Lab in Quantico, that balance, the balance was there. Ballistic coefficient plus performance in gel based on the FBI Ballistic Research Facility's guidance on what's barrier blind. That's what got us to 270, and then of course I designated it as 6.8, and not a lot of people know why I use that designation, because 270 is not exactly 6.8 or 6.9, but that's a secret. You have to be inside to know the secret. So again, Sularu, okay, blah blah blah. Okay, right. So
I'm back, guys.
He's back.
I'm back.
Hey, Dana. Calls back.
Steve, I appreciate you letting me go put my foot up for a minute. You get to talk about your blasters. I heard them in here, guys. I didn't totally abandon y'all. I didn't do that. But yeah, I had to put my foot up. I'm sitting here next to Steve, and remember, I've had it propped up for 5 days now, and I'm sitting here, and it was hurting me, and I glanced down at it, and literally my foot, I watched my ankle just go whoop and turn purple. I was like, yeah, that's not where the blood's supposed to be going right now. So, all right, we're going to wrap this up for tonight. I appreciate Steve coming out as always. I know you guys had a bunch of great questions. Save them for next week. We're going to be back next week. I am going to be in less pain next week, probably. I hope so. Steve, you available next Tuesday?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
will be here next Tuesday.
Awesome. We will.
I've been meaning to ask you. 4th of July.
4th of July.
Are we planning on doing a show? Or are you going to do
I
just the
always.
fireworks?
Is it a Tuesday?
Yeah, 4th of July.
I guess we're doing a tactical Tuesday, or you want me to do it on Monday night? My wife is saying we're going to do it on Monday night. Here's why. Because
up on the hill.
4th of July is a big holiday for me and Steve. You understand? I've been to 41 countries. I don't know how many Steve's been to. He's probably been to more than me. But I have seen, even you go to great countries, Germany, Iceland, Sweden. You go to these other places where everybody's like, yeah, those are so much better countries than the U.S. They're not. They're not. You go to shitholes like Ethiopia, like Mexico, like California, and you see there are some full-blown freaking shitholes. And we are lucky to have been born in the greatest country on the planet.
You know what the most famous country was that I was most disappointed in?
What's that?
France.
France. Yeah, exactly.
Well, not France all around, Paris. When I went to Paris, I was like, really? This is it?
This is it?
I was like,
now, guys,
even the Eiffel Tower.
You understand the homeless here in the U.S. get health care. They all have phones bigger than mine. They've all do Facebook. They don't even look up at you anymore. They just got their cardboard sign out. And they're busy doing... No, that's just the truth. I've been in countries where I watched a lady in Africa. She had her little... It was kind of like a pickaxe, but it was only this big. And she was busting a root out of the ground, a root, because there were no trees. She's busting a root out. She had 3 kids with her. And she's busting the root to make a fire to cook the meat that she had just bought in the market. Now, in the market, the little souk there, they sold beef, they sold pig, they sold monkey, they sold rat, and then they sold meat. So you understand, if it's not even a monkey or a rat, it's meat. What does that have to be for them to not even... I don't even know what that is. I just don't even know. That's all that she could afford. And that's what she was cooking. And you understand, she didn't even have a freaking tree to get firewood from. She's busting a root out of the ground. And that was how that's how she was going to feed her 3 kids. She didn't have her handout. She didn't have a sign, homeless, need money for meth. She didn't have any signs like that.
We were throwing MREs.
Yeah.
Throwing MREs.
I'm very, very thankful for this country. Does this country have issues? Of course we do. Most of them revolve around politicians and all those fundraisers and lobbyists that go around with them. Corporate America, shame on you. All these other companies, shame on you. Y'all pay off your politicians to get what you want. And you're not always doing it in the best interests of this country.
Except for Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light. Pay the price.
Yeah. But
$28.7 billion.
We will not be doing it on
the 4th of July, Tuesday, the 4th of July.
We're going to do it the 1st.
The 3rd.
Monday, the 3rd. Monday the 3rd, the night prior. I'll still have a lot of people here. I believe Angry American said he's coming now. I know Sularoo and Emery will be here the night prior. I think Rawson's going to be here. Steve, you're welcome, or if you want to sit it out. Are you bringing your wife and son up for the 4th to do fireworks?
I haven't asked them yet.
Okay.
I need to ask them.
If they're interested, your family's always welcome up here on the hill. We do big fireworks display. Everybody. Big fireworks display. Everybody meets. They depart the hill at 10 a.m. and we all kayak and canoe down to the waterfall where the underground river is that we do Operation Valkyrie. And they do a nice KFC picnic there. And then they go kayak another hour downstream where everybody gets picked up. They come back here. We got the pool and everything. We hang out, grill, fellowship, hang out, share war stories, tell how much we are blessed to live in this great nation. And then we wrap the evening up with fireworks. So Steve, all my patrons, all my family members, you guys know I do consider Steve Sincerely, a brother of mine. They're all welcome here. Randy Worst will not be here. Randy's currently up in the mountains of Montana, running survival training for all the Gold Star kids that their parents were killed in the global war on terror. That's what he does, and that's the truth. So Randy wants to be here, but he's not giving up helping up those kids. So we will miss Randy, but we're gonna have everybody else here. Maybe I'll live stream or post some Instagram shorts for you guys. Us drinking Dead Red around the fire pit. But anyways, tonight I want to give a shout out about our classes real quick. The low light, no light shooting course being held at the Louisville Armory mid-July is already sold out. 100% sold out. Don't even try. I literally don't have any room to sneak you in. High risk travel is late July. That is a 3-day class. To me, that's the best class that we teach year round, most educational. And that's going to be Montgomery County Shooting Complex. It's end of July, beginning of August, so it's almost too hot to be outside. It's classroom and it's surveillance, counter surveillance in vehicles. So you're in air conditioning. It's a great course, You're going to do escapology, how to pick handcuffs, how to get out of flex cuffs, all kinds of stuff. Great course. I want to say I got 5 slots left for that class. If you're looking to do summer training, you want to get the wife and kids out, so long as you say your kids are mature enough to attend the course, I'll take your word for it. You can sign up at tacticalrifleman.com. Again, thanks, Steve, for coming out. We never get through the list of... I got 18 bullet points on the list over there on the TV. I made it all the way to 3. I said thank you to Marvin for the care package. But Steve had things he wanted to go over. You get to cover both rifles?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor again right here, Bucked Up. They do energy drinks, recovery drinks. They've even got power bars. So if you're not big fans of some of the power bars that are out there, because some of them are really good for you but taste like ass, the Bucked Up ones got a good balance. They do. They taste decent, and they're good for you. Their energy drinks are the ones I want to try because I'm dragging hard. I'm an hour late to take my next pain pill, so I'm heading that way. I want to say thank you to Steve. And that you want to do your prayer, Steve. You're going to quote scripture for us.
The path of the righteous man. Beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Shame on you, LWRC. Precision Reflex, Silver State Armory. Blessed is he who, in the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brothers and sisters' keeper and the finder of lost children. Not a birthing person or birthing mother, but children.
Yeah.
And he will strike down upon you with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy this country with your binary language. And you will know his name is the Lord when he brings his vengeance upon you.
Good stuff. All right, guys. We love you. We'll see y'all next week. Y'all take care and shoot straight.
Right.
Coming right there.